Mr. Little One, and they call him Little One on today's hottest music, Hot 103. Your boy Henry G here with you on a Sunday afternoon, bringing you all your favorite Latin, hip-hop, and oldies and your requests and dedications. Right now, though, truly an honor to be joined all the way from Spanish Harlem by Joe Bataan. Welcome on a Sunday afternoon. Thanks for joining me.
Okay, my pleasure, Henry. Thanks for being here.
Now, first of all, tell us what it was like coming up in the east side of Manhattan, New York, back in the day.
Well, that was an exciting time. You know, of course, at that time, there was a fever pitch movement going along with the blue, and music was really starting to cross over from Latin into, you know, soul music, and then eventually into pop, how we have it today. But during those early days, it was like a magic time in East Harlem. With me, with my new band called the Las Cruces, which was one of the youngest bands in Latin music at the time. Most of the kids that were in my band ranged in age from 12, 13, 14 years of age. I was the oldest. And I was able, fortunately, to put a band together. And in 6 months, we started making records. Our first release was Gypsy Woman under the Fania Records. And then we just continued to play until this day.
Coming up where you did, what was the first initial obstacle just in pursuing a career in the music industry?
Well, I guess it was finances. You know, even though we grew up at a happy time and a happy medium, I wouldn't replace it for anything. But we didn't have the financial support that we needed from our parents, because at that time we were very, very, very poor. We couldn't afford a piano or music lessons, for that fact. And most of the music that I did, I had to create and arrange and put together myself. So I guess that was one of the biggest obstacles, not having been able to pursue musically and education.
Henry G here with you on a Sunday afternoon. Special guest Joe Bataan. We have much more to talk about. We're going to get, though, into the track Under the Street Lamp, one that's hugely popular out here. Go ahead, give us the story behind it. Introduce it for everyone out here in the 575.
Well, you know, of course, the song was recorded on 1969, along with My Cloud, The Prayer, and several others. And just happened to be picked up as a favorite. You know, it was a cover of Clay, who is the composer. And I just met a lot of success because it identifies with a lot of the Lowriders and how they grew up. You know, Willie Mays is the hero, being in doo-wop. You know, these are things that are familiar with a lot of the areas on the West.
More with Joe Bataan on the way. Here is Under the Street Lamp on today's hottest music, Hot 103. Today's hottest music is Hot 103. Henry G here with you on a Sunday afternoon. Of course, special guest Joe Bataan. Now, what do you want to say to all your fans right here in the 575 in Las Cruces, New Mexico?
Well, I've heard so much about the area and music coming out of the music, but I'm just hoping that somebody gives me a call and asks us to come down and play. I mean, we've been to the coast, but never to see it. So that would probably seal the envelope as far as us traveling. And I want to say hi to everybody, keep the Lowriders going, and I love you.
Henry G here with you on a Sunday afternoon. Special guest Joe Bataan. Now, what's it like for you when you hear some youngsters bumping My Cloud or bumping Mujer Mia, you know, one of your tracks, and just knowing that your music has been passed on from generation to generation and survived the test of time?
Well, you know, at first you would think that, you know, in the early days, you didn't want anybody to play your music in fear that they might copy it or pressurize it. But, you know, now it's just the highest compliment that you can get when a young person emulates or imitates or does their rendition of your musical composition. It's just a thrill. And it's a testament to all the hard work that went in to create a lot of these songs.
Now, being from New York, what's it like knowing that the lowrider culture out in L.A. really embraced your music and you have a huge fan base out there?
Well, that was great. I actually went out to California the early 60s, 69, and I had a bunch of albums that I brought out there with me trying to promote Joe Bataan, having no idea that it would take almost 10, 20 years, even to this day, that my music would be underground and it would filter into a lot of people's homes. And children played my records, it would pass on to their children, and what you have is a love affair that I had with the Lowriders and most of the people in Southern and Northern California, all the way down to Texas and Arizona, and how you say New Mexico, is that a lot of these fans never have gotten a chance to see Joe Bataan play. Because I've done extensive traveling out on the West Coast now, a lot of these fans have come and seen me the first time in 20 years or 30 years after having listened to my music for so long.
Now, with everything that you've been able to accomplish in the music industry, basically being credited as one of the creators of Latin soul, what are you personally most proud of?
Well, I guess it all came to a head maybe just this past October when we were recognized at the Smithsonian Institute in Washington, D.C. They have since put a portrait of the earlier Joe Bataan band in their Portrait National Gallery at the museum. And, of course, we performed there, which is available on the Internet under the Asian Pacific Conference Group at the Smithsonian. And finally, that you were recognized by your peers was most gratifying. Not only that, but because it was the Asian community, the Black community, and the Latin community, and everybody else that participated in that program.
Henry G here with you on the Sunday afternoon. Special guest Joe Bataan. Now, I definitely still want to talk about the work you've been able to do with the youth out in New York. First, so let's get into My Cloud. Go ahead, give us the story behind it. Introduce it for everyone right here in the 575.
Well, My Cloud, My Cloud is a favorite. It was written some time ago while I was entertaining in the living room, and I got this notion. Actually, how beautiful it was, and the rest is. We just knew that it was a song that had a passion, and that described the love affair that everyone should have with their loved one. And lo and behold, it became such a popular song throughout the West Coast with the Lowrider that it actually became much more popular years later than when it was first recorded.
This is Joe Bataan, My Cloud, Hot 103 on a Sunday afternoon. Today's hottest music, Hot 103, Henry G here with you on a Sunday afternoon. All your favorite Latin hip-hop and oldies right now, those special guests, Joe Bataan. Now, you've had an opportunity to work with the youth out in New York. Tell us what that was like for you, and how fulfilling was it to you as well?
Well, it was, actually returning to my roots. Here it was, as a youngster, I got in trouble and I was sent away to a reformatory. I went to New York. That's where I was able to learn my craft, fortunately. But unfortunately, that it showed me the sort of discipline, because otherwise there's no telling how my career might have turned out. But being that I was in trouble like that, it helped me in my occupation as a counselor. Eventually, I was a tour commander, and I ran the juvenile facility in New York at nighttime. And I was able to instill in a lot of youngsters what I had went through, and a period of my success, which sort of gave them some aspirations to do something with their lives.
Joe Bataan, want to thank you once again for being a part of On a Sunday Afternoon. Truly an honor. Any last thing you want to say to your fans out here in Las Cruces?
I want to thank you, Henry, and your fans out there in New Mexico for supporting Joe Bataan. And if you want to reach me, I have a website with www.joebataan.com. And hopefully some promoters will come out and give me a call and we will be able to play in New Mexico.
Joe Bataan, and this is Joe Bataan, Mujer Mia on Hot 103 on a Sunday afternoon.